Fun fact, this video actually was almost entirely made in one spontaneous decision. I would love to show you that spontaneous decision, but sadly, I don't think out loud, which means it kind of just sounds like this. Maybe under 3 an hour. Well, I guess that wouldn't matter. Riveting commentary aside, after thinking about it for a strong 45 seconds, I decided I would attempt the rarest achievement in the game alongside another one of the hardest achievements in the game in order to collect virtual trophies in a game almost twice my age, slightly faster. Anyways, as I started the challenge, I think that the spontaneousness of my decision really helped with preventing nerves. I was so good at not acknowledging that anything was going on that my first encounter with a zombie looked like this.
Yo, where is everybody? Yeah, I might be with
really silly. Oh, and you may also notice that the audio from this clip is a little quiet. And yeah, that's because I accidentally wasn't recording the game audio for the first 2 hours of filming. It doesn't affect all clips, but it definitely makes a few of them sound strange.
I'll be back though. I will be. Love you.
Yeah, I'll fix that after the first boss, don't worry. Until then, I got the first key pretty easily, and to be honest, the rest of the early game is really hard to commentate on since most of the fights look like this. So we'll skip to killing a dog and eventually grabbing the shield key, where I tried to look cool by not turning the dog collar into the fake key before I set off the trap, but I calmly changed my mind.
Yeah, hold on.
After getting the key, it's time to start getting death masks, and I just have to mention how much taking away game sound hurts some of these clips. That beautiful sound of a critical headshot does so much to spike your dopamine. Without it, we just have...
No, it'd be really funny if it was an empty closet. Oh my god!
God, I mean, what is it without the... Ooh, one more time. Jeez. Cleanup aisle, my pants. And honestly, if you're not feeling something down below when you hear a little bit of that, you might be insane. With that tangent aside, it's time to actually begin death mask hunting, which, aside from a few moments, goes pretty well. The only problem is, after getting my third mask, I managed to completely forget about grabbing one of them, and I gaslit myself into believing I needed to find one more before I fought Yon. I looked around for like 5 minutes for a mask that didn't exist before I eventually came back to my item box.
What? Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to go through the footage. I have no idea when I got this mask.
After clearing that up, I decided to save Richard before I fight Yon, since he'll give us something useful later. After saving him, I have one more schizophrenic episode with the greatest character ever.
I will.
And finally, it's time to fight the first boss. But before it, I decided I would go grab some dinner, and when I came back, I noticed the sound issue. So all clips starting now have sound. Back to the boss, I implement an extremely advanced strategy to beat him. Yeah, I'm like just now realizing that I actually just lied and I fixed the audio after the boss, but I don't want to go back and change what I said, so I'm tired and I'm a chud. Sorry. Alright, now it's time to fight the Crimson Head. And I know that the bosses in the early game are all pretty lazy, considering they're just animals but bigger. It's gotta be the worst one. I mean, imagine pitching a boss that's just an enemy, but you gave him a little bit more health. Either way, regardless of how lazy he is, I actually do have a cool way to kill him. Since he's such a lazy boss, he actually just behaves like any normal zombie, meaning stunning items actually work on him. If only we had a way to maybe insta-kill. Alright, it's now time for the outside stuff, but first, quick thing. We actually can see the zombies. Kinda. You can actually see them through any surface that's considered reflective, which is a lot harder to tell than it looks.
I can see them. Why can I see them?
After we're done killing those very visible dogs, we get to do outside stuff, which is a lot of running around until we get jumped by, them. I don't even know what Lisa Trevor is, but we get away from her, and then it's time to go to the residence. Yay! Alright, we're in the residence! This is actually my favorite part of the game. I don't really know why. It's not actually that notable, but I've always been happy to be here. Maybe it's because it goes by the fastest, and deep down a part of me would much rather not be doing this than be doing this, but that's a little sad, so I'll try not to think about that. The first thing I always like to do in the residence is get the eye puzzle done, like find out which eye correlates to which color. But first, check out this absolute banger of a cutscene.
Cool.
After doing that, which I now realize I didn't actually have to do, since the easier difficulties actually just give you the color of the eyes on the keypad, I began the residence gameplay loop, which is basically just grabbing a key, then running to a door, then getting a key from the door, from the room, and running to another door, and then doing that over and over. That's okay, because it's got a super crazy boss fight afterwards, right? Anyways, with that awesome boss fight over, we're almost done with the residence. All we need to do now is grab one more key, and then we get to fight the plant. A boss fight that is a little bit more engaging than the shark. The plant is definitely a much harder fight. The vines being invisible means that sometimes you just take damage, but this is very easy mode. So I kinda just face tank whatever and shoot at it until it dies. And we get the helmet key. But as I head back to the mansion with my new key, I have to talk to Rebecca for what will sadly be the last time of the run, for reasons I'll get into later. Anyways, we're back in the mansion, and now we have a new thing to worry about. Hunters. Not because they do a lot of damage or anything, very easy mode does a pretty good job at preventing that, but instead because they have the ability to do this. So you'll notice that in the inventory, we could see that that poor man was sitting at a comfortable fine until Hunter decided that his neck could use another hole. If this happens to me after I've done nothing but sit at my desk and play this game for 4 hours straight, then I'll be less than pleased. And spoilers, we're gonna have to fight 2 of them before we can even begin the next section. But the good news is, this is not my first time playing this game. So even if I can't see it, I know that when you shoot a hunter with a shotgun, it falls flat on its back. And all you have to do is shoot it one more time when it stands up. While we can't actually watch the hunter get up anymore, we can still hear the sound of its strangely wet feet hitting the ground. Now it's time for the helmet key stuff, which I like to do in one long run, which goes from the statue puzzle in the save room, through to the kitchen.
That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. That is not good. Please, please.
Where we go up the elevator, and finally, we grab the gemstones, and minus one small detour to grab the jewelry box, that already gives us everything we need, and we're already ready to fight the boss. And Yawn was actually one of the fights I was the most scared about, but all that fear went away really quickly once I realized that he left a very obvious dust trail when he moved. So all I had to do was stand still, wait till I saw some dust, and then shoot. Diddy Freud down, and now we're ready to enter the endgame. But first, I had to do something very hard. See, I'm doing this challenge to attempt to 100% Resident Evil faster, and to 100% Resident Evil, I need to do all of the achievements. One of these being every man for himself, which requires Chris to escape without saving anybody. I had no problem doing this for Jill, but for Chris, I had to sacrifice Rebecca, who, since the only other Resident Evil game I've ever played is Zero, has a special place in my heart. So leaving her to die didn't feel too great.
Rebecca!
Oh, I
Upstairs?
forgot about this. We just pretended we didn't hear a single thing. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, I'm the worst. Oh, what am I doing? What is wrong with me? What is actually wrong with me?
We're almost done now, so great job putting up with me for this long. Anyways, we're now under the waterfall, which means we get to watch a guy get shot by my profile picture, and then fight, you guessed it, an animal that's much larger than it usually is. Armed with nothing but an extremely misleading name, the Black Tiger might be a cool boss fight if it wasn't so easy to kill. Seriously, even on harder difficulties, it takes only a few shotgun shots to take it down. And then, all we have to do is run past a few boulders, which seriously spike my anxiety, because once you've been playing without saving for more than 5 hours, the idea of an insta-kill is enough to send you into hysteria. After getting past the stress balls, get it? It's time to dodge the Trev, which isn't that hard, since she'll always appear in the first hallway you look down. So all you have to do is run towards wherever you don't want to go first, and then backtrack and get to where you actually need to be. After thankfully avoiding having to see a girl, we get the final piece of the puzzle. The Octagon Stone, which is the last thing we need to gain access to the lab, which, for anyone who watches extremely niche Resident Evil content without having played the game before, is the last area of the game. But first, we have to break our no void interaction streak, and complete the scariest boss of the game, the Lisa Trevor boss fight. Which scares me because she has a super cool ability to knock you off the edge and insta-kill you if you happen to get hit near the edge. And considering I was terrified of a rock since it was given the power to kill me instantly, imagine how I felt when we gave that power to a mutant amalgamation girl thing. Thankfully, I'm able to play extremely slow and beat the fight. Also, with invisible enemy mode and no audio, I realize I look schizophrenic for this fight. Nonetheless, beating her gains access to the lab, where we start by getting not even close to some zombies at the entrance.
Oh my god. Okay. Alright. Alright.
And then, we get to skip 3/4 of the area right away by remembering 2 codes. This is my 4th time beating the game in the same month, so I think I deserve a little reward, and we're gonna need it. Since now, remember how Trevington was the scariest boss in the game? Well, now we're about to do the scariest non-boss part. Because now, we have to fuel the elevator, meaning we'll have to carry the highly explosive fuel, which, you guessed it, not only makes us a one-shot kill, but also forces us to walk. Meaning we're basically forced to clear out the rooms that we have to go through, which are full of enemies who, once again, you guessed it, also have a one-shot kill, which looks like this. Yeah, that's me, getting grabbed. Luckily, in the world of insta-kills, there are 2 tiers. Ones that are unescapable, like the Hunters and the big LTs, and those that are. For example, this one. I actually didn't know that you could escape from this grab until that point, so you can probably imagine how I felt when I got pulled up. Mini heart attack over, we the elevator and make our way up into the final boss's area, who I knew would be a little bit easy since we're on the easiest difficulty, but come on.
Huh.
And that was the challenge. Yeah, I'm super glad this was a first try, and now that we, as in you and me, have experienced this, it's time to beg for validation. This is my first ever real YouTube video. Technically, I made another one, but that one shouldn't count. Thank you, real survival mode for that. But anywho, if you comment anything, Pinky promised to acknowledge it unless I lose literally all of my drive 2 videos deep and never post a video again. Also, if it's criticism, I'll try to learn from it, because, you know, kind of have a little bit of learning to do. What else? Do all the stuff you hear every time you watch any YouTube video ever. And if you're hearing this, I